Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the Easy Football YouTube channel. Today I am joined
Hello.
today I am joined again with my guest and friend Avi Litvak back for another video. Today
Sir.
we will be doing quarterback rankings.
Yeah, so Ezra, let's start. Let's just go right into it. So I saw that you have Kyler Murray at number 10. I put Jimmy Garoppolo. So tell me, just explain to me why you put Kyler Murray in there. I think I also had Kyler Murray in my list. Yeah, I put him at number 9. So explain why Kyler Murray goes in the number 10 slot for you.
Yeah, so I really like Kyler Murray and I think he's really good, and I think this season with DeAndre Hopkins, he is set for a major jump. I mean, he was even before, but now it's going to be even easier for him with that star dominant receiver. I could really see he was amazing this year, but this jump he's going to take next year will really put him in that top 10 quarterback ranking.
I definitely agree. I have Kyler Murray on my list at number 9. I think that this year he won Rookie of the Year. Very impressive season for a rookie. He didn't stand out too much because a little bit overshadowed by Lamar Jackson. They have similar playing styles, but I definitely think that he showed everyone around the NFL that he is a number 1 overall pick and he can compete in the NFL. And he took the Cardinals from a 3-13 team, and he gave them some extra wins this season. And I think that in a few years, Kyler Murray is going to be a household name.
Yes, I agree with that. So Jimmy G, what about him?
Jimmy G, let me tell you, you didn't put him on your list, but I like Jimmy G. And, you know, he had good stats last year. A lot of people don't think about that. I mean, last year he had 3,900 passing yards and 27 touchdowns, which is a lot. I mean, that's compatible with a lot of really top-tier quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks I have in my top 5. But the reason I only put Jimmy G at number 10 is because I think the 49ers really rely on their rush offense, and I think Jimmy G wasn't part of their team that took them so far to the Super Bowl. I don't think that Jimmy G was the one that carried their team.
Okay, so moving ahead at number 9, you have Kyler Murray, and at number 9, I have Ryan Tannehill. So Ryan Tannehill, he came in halfway through last season and really elevated that team, brought them to the playoffs, got them a couple wins in the playoffs, and I think that with a full year, this year he can really keep that same level or even get better. He had some pretty good stats last season, and he was really good. I think that with this full season, with this more chemistry with A.J. Brown, he will improve again.
I definitely agree. I think that I'll tell you why I didn't put Ryan Tannehill on my list. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great quarterback, and I think he has potential. And in the last video, we talked about how he really improved a lot. But similar to actually Jimmy Garoppolo, is Derrick Henry is one of, if not the most dominant running backs in the league. He sheds defenders, and he really puts their team above other teams' rushing offenses. And Ryan Tannehill, sure, he's the quarterback. Sure, he tells he's the captain of the team, but he's not what Derrick Henry is. He's not the fan. The fans like Derrick Henry, and that's because Derrick Henry is the one that makes that team good. And Sure, Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback, but he's just not the reason that the Titans made the AFC Championship.
Okay, so next, I mean, we both have Aaron Rodgers pretty low on our list. I have him at number 8, and you have Carson Wentz at number 8. You want to talk about Carson?
Carson Wentz I'll put him at number 8, and that's because I think he's a very talented quarterback. We saw a couple years ago, he took them to the playoffs, and he got injured. Carson Wentz, I think I would have him higher maybe than Aaron Rodgers, probably higher than Kirk Cousins, if he didn't get injured. He's very injury prone, and a quarterback like that, you really can't trust him to take your team all the way if he's constantly getting injured and he's constantly putting the teams resting on the backup quarterback.
Okay, so with me at Aaron Rodgers at number 8, I think again, as I said in the last video, all the drama with Jordan Love is really going to hit him hard. I don't know how many more years he'll be in Green Bay, even if he sticks in Green Bay this whole season. It's really surprising, but it could happen. I think that a new team could help him with more weapons, but I really think that he is slowing down towards the end of his career, and the time is coming shortly. I do still see him as a top 10 quarterback. That is why he's at my number 8. But at number 7, at number 7, you have Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, and I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be their starting quarterback for all of next season, and I definitely think that Jordan Love was not drafted to replace him, and I think, or at least not this season, and I think that Aaron Rodgers, sure, he's getting older, he's in maybe his 30s, late 30s, but he's a great quarterback still. I mean, he took them to the NFC Championship, and that can't be looked over. Jordan Love is a rookie quarterback, and they didn't have such a good draft pick because they made the playoffs. So I don't think that Jordan Love is such a big factor in Aaron Rodgers' life, because Aaron, once he retires or once he gets traded or once he's out of the picture, then Jordan Love will come in. But honestly, I don't think that Jordan Love is going to replace him anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. So at my number 7, I have Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. I think that although he might not be that good in big-time games, he's still a great quarterback for a great team. But with this year with Justin Jefferson, we're going to see how Justin Jefferson can help him and how he can possibly improve over last season. I think that he has the stats there, and I think that this season he did have... or last season, he had 8 yards per attempt, 26 touchdowns, and about 3,600 yards, which was a good season on 70% completion, which is good. And I think that with improvement, he could really jump up in the ranks.
I 100% agree with that. Kirk Cousins, I put him actually higher than you did, and I'll tell you why. 2 seasons back-to-back, 2018 and 2019, he had a lot of yards, and he had over 25 touchdowns both seasons. Just 6 interceptions last year. That's great numbers. And his team, most people thought that they were going to lose to the Saints. But Kirk Cousins is great. He's a great quarterback, and he took their team past the Saints with a game-winning touchdown to Kyle Rudolph. And I think that Kirk Cousins is a really slept-on quarterback that'll do very well next season, especially with the new Justin Jefferson receiver.
Yes, I agree with that. So at number 6, you just talked about Kirk Cousins, but I have Carson Wentz. I really like Carson Wentz, and I think that in the past, he has had bad receivers. Even though you could call Alshon Jeffrey a good receiver, he has not really been there all the time. He's been injured a couple times, and he's just really not that reliable target that Carson Wentz needs. But now, with Jalen Reagor, he can bring his 27 touchdowns, his 4,000 yards, up to another level, where maybe he's getting about 4,500 yards, maybe 30-plus touchdowns, and really jumping up in the rankings. Maybe even next year getting to that number 5 position, maybe even being better than that. But he has the skill, he just does not have the receivers. And I think with Jalen Reagor and this new team, he will now have the receivers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think you put him higher than me. But I do think that Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. I put him on my list, and I think that he has a lot of potential if he can stay healthy the whole season.
Okay. At number 5, you have Drew Brees. I have Deshaun Watson. You want to talk about Drew?
I will talk about Drew Brees. Drew Brees, I thought about putting him higher on the list than number 5. But he's getting older, and we can't deny that. I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. He's taken New Orleans to the playoffs countless times, and he's had a great career. And I think that he's still a top 5 quarterback. But he's going downhill, and he's getting older. And sure, he still takes their team to go 13-3. He still is getting a lot of passing yards, a lot of touchdowns, very, very few interceptions. But he's about 37, 38, something like that. And I don't think that someone that old can still dominate in the league to the extent that he used to.
I have him at number 4, which is one spot ahead of where I have Deshaun Watson. You have Deshaun Watson at 3, but I really have to put Deshaun Watson at 5 because Deshaun Watson played, I think, the entire season last year, threw 12 interceptions, 26 touchdowns, about 3,800 yards on 67% completion, when I really saw Drew Brees throw 27 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, about 3,000 yards and 74% completion. But I think that was really because he was out for a part of the season. And he still put up great touchdown numbers with low interception numbers and a 116 passer rating, which I think is really good, and I think that's why I have him at number 4 and I have Deshaun Watson at number 5. So you want to talk about Russell Wilson for you at number 4?
I would love to talk about Russell Wilson. I drafted Russell Wilson in fantasy 2 years in a row. I really enjoy watching him, and I think that he's only 31 years old, and he's improving. I mean, he had 4,100 yards last season, threw only 5 interceptions,
along with great 31 touchdowns.
Yes, 30. I was going to talk about that. 31 touchdowns is a really impressive number. I mean, I think he could have won MVP in a year where Lamar Jackson was not dominating the league. And I think Russell Wilson is still in his prime, honestly. Maybe you'll disagree with me on that, but I think that even though he's 31 years old, he's still doing very, very well in the NFL. And I think that he doesn't have the best receivers. He has Tyler Lockett and a few others, but I think that Russell Wilson is still a very, very dominant quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that is why I actually have him at number 3, and you have Deshaun Watson. So, just highlighting on what you said about Russell Wilson, he does not always have the weapons, but he's able to capitalize. He makes those nice throws. He had that really nice touchdown to Tyler Lockett last season, and that is why I have him at number 3. You want to talk about Deshaun Watson for you at number 3?
Yeah, the reason I put him above Russell Wilson, even though he had worse numbers than Russell Wilson last year, worse stats, less passing yards, less touchdowns, more interceptions, I think that is something we can overlook because Deshaun Watson is a very powerful quarterback.
I don't think you can. I do not think you can.
Because
I do not. He had one of the top receivers in the NFL. He had DeAndre Hopkins, and he still had worse stats than Russell Wilson with Tyler Lockett.
It's a different thing. Deshaun Watson takes his team to another level. Did you see the play where Deshaun Watson got kicked in the eye? He couldn't even see, and he still threw a touchdown.
Tyler Lockett takes
Deshaun Watson is, and
Russell Wilson takes his team to another level. All he has is Tyler Lockett, and he's able to take that team to another level. Their running backs are inconsistent; they get injured, but Russell Wilson is still able to take that team to the playoffs. And he's still able to do well with them.
Deshaun Watson is that Deshaun Watson has speed. He's the Lamar
when we saw
Jackson
Deshaun Watson play
Lamar
against the Ravens. When we saw Deshaun Watson play against the Ravens, a real defense, he was awful and he had many turnovers in that game. And that is why I definitely think that you cannot have Deshaun Watson as high as you have Russell Wilson, a true star in the NFL.
I'm telling you that Deshaun Watson is younger than Russell Wilson. He does almost everything Russell Wilson does. Once he has more experience, he'll be just as good, maybe even better than Russell Wilson. But definitely right now, I 100% think that Deshaun Watson is a more powerful, more dominant, more accurate quarterback in the NFL.
I don't think you can make that argument, but it's okay. We'll move on to number 2, where we both have Lamar Jackson. So, fans might be surprised that we have Lamar at 2, but do you want to explain first why?
I will. Lamar Jackson, he won MVP this year, and don't get me wrong, I respect Lamar Jackson. I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL, which is very impressive. But he's just, 21, 22 years old. He's very young. And I think that he needs to get a little bit more experience before we can really call him the best quarterback in the NFL. And I think that Patrick Mahomes has speed, obviously not as much as Lamar Jackson, but he has more accuracy and he has better vision than Lamar Jackson. And I think he's a bigger playmaker. Lamar Jackson, sure, he's fast, but he's not as good of a passer, not close to as good of a passer as Patrick Mahomes is.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that Patrick Mahomes is more skilled all around than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has the legs, and he has the throws. He's gotten better, much better from 2 seasons ago to last season. The improvement's still coming through with both of them because they're both very young. But I just think Patrick Mahomes' all-around skill tops Lamar Jackson by just a little bit. And maybe Lamar Jackson can beat him in a couple of years, get better than him. But for now, I think that it is safe to say that Patrick Mahomes, even though I'm not happy about it, is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think that Patrick Mahomes will continue to dominate the NFL for the next years to come.
Yeah, so that was a fun episode. That will wrap up our rankings. I really enjoyed having you on the show, Avi. Yeah, thanks for coming. I hope you all stay safe, wash your hands. Stay inside. We want this NFL season to happen, and that is how we can make it happen. See you in the next video. Peace.